Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm back with the next ICG webinar. And on this 10-minute video, we're going to talk about referral fees in a estate agency from conveyancers and mortgage companies. So this has just been recently announced. It's going to be a recommendation that all referral fees need to be shown. Is it right, ladies, boys and girls on the call, that estate agents should earn money from referral fees? There are some, even, Ed, I mean, you've been there and done it and seen it. I mean, there are some estate agents that earn absolutely shed loads of money from referral fees. Is that right?
Well, I mean, the big corporates and the big chains are much better at doing this than the smaller agents. The smaller agents have always struggled. They've always wanted to make money from referrals. And indeed, for most referrals, why would you refer someone who's a duffer? It makes sense that most referrals are referred to people who know what they're on about and the estate agent works well with. So I'm a fan of having these referral fees shown. I'm not a fan of it being banned, and estate agents, following the tenant fee ban last year on the letting side, are looking for all sorts of new income streams. And I think they'd like to match some of the big corporates who make as much as a third of their income from these referrals.
Okay. So, I mean, we often see on social media, next saying, well, I have to refer the people to our factory conveyancers, and I know they're rubbish. I mean, there is a school of thought to say that factory conveyancers have not been really good at pushing, sales have gone from 12 weeks to nearly 19 weeks. Is that because we've got conveyancers with 150, 200 cases? Is that right? Anyone?
No, it's not right. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's taking longer now than when I started in 1979. It's madness.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's right. I think, listen, in any business, you get the good, the bad, and the indifferent. And I think, you have to choose very carefully. If you're using one of the factories, you've got to choose them carefully. There are other options. There's some great local solicitors and local conveyancers out there who work hand in hand with your business. As Ed said, the corporates are fantastic about it. But as in regards to, should agents be allowed to earn referral fees, you can't go into, if you want to go back to the car analogy, you go to a car dealership these days, you cannot walk out of the door with your new car without having had to speak to their business manager, who is basically going to offer you finance. And the income that these guys generate their finance is absolutely unbelievable. In fact, probably higher, Ed, than what you said in relation to the corporates there. They're looking at 40–50% of their income comes from finance. So I think it's only fair that agents are allowed to do it. I think choosing the right people, we've got obviously MAB who are involved in the ICG who have got an excellent track record. I've certainly not heard any negs talking about their involvement with them, as mentioned earlier. So yeah, listen, it's horses for courses. I think you need to explore what's out there. You need to look for the best business to work with. But certainly there are some cracking businesses out there.
Okay, so if this rule's going to be coming in, because it's pretty, and the mood is not banning it, but being more open about it, how can we as an industry ensure that we stay the right side of the law, use tech, and earn what we're due, but not too much, so it's not detrimental to the parties concerned? Babette, you must have something to say on this one.
Yes, absolutely. A couple of things actually to your prior question that you asked about the referral fees. I mean, I think two things we need to look here is the first one is the consumer side, right? The home buyer side. Actually, a lot of home buyers don't really know what they need to do and where to go to get a mortgage or get a conveyancing. So having an agent to recommend them is a good thing for home buyer. And this is really important. And I invite government to think about it before, even if they consider banning it. This is going to be damaging for the consumer, because a lot of customers actually relying on advice they get from a estate agent, particularly when it comes to conveyancing. Now,
yeah, but if that recommendation is purely because it's got pound notes in front of their eyes,
that's exactly my second point, right? So what's important to understand is what was the motivation behind the recommendation. I think good agents would always refer the right conveyancer, because in reality, like referring a bad conveyancer is bad for your own business. I mean, yes, you might make £200 from conveyancing, but you might not see your commission, which is hopefully significantly bigger. So a good agent would always recommend a good conveyancer, a good mortgage broker who will actually solve the problem. Now, I can bring some data to this. As you know, we've been obviously doing it for quite a while now, and we have all sorts of conveyancing firms that are on our panel, some big nationals, some smaller firms. And one thing I can tell you, when an agent has a very strong relationship with the conveyancer and mortgage broker, transaction happens between 30 to 35% faster than if the conveyancer chosen by the customer is a random conveyancer. So I will always tell consumer, take the conveyancer that has strong relationship with the agent, because it's in your own benefit. Otherwise, you might not actually have the property. And as you know, it might take so long that either the vendor might change their mind, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of an important part. So I don't think banning is the right thing. Now, in terms of bringing transparency, absolutely. To be honest, I think a lot of consumers probably know that a conveyancer or a mortgage broker would give some money back to an agent. I mean, let's be honest, right? We all know that people do things. I mean, obviously, some of them do it out of goodness of their heart, but a lot of time people do it for benefit. I don't think it's we are the only industry with that kind of practice. This exists in other parts, other industries as well. I mean, Steve just mentioned car industry. So transparency is key. Our products, when we work with the estate agent, we make sure that when our systems generate automated quote, whether it's a mortgage or conveyancing, there's always a very clear stipulation of how much revenue generated by the agent. We haven't really seen a significant pushback by the customers, to be honest, when they know that an agent is paid £100 or £150, £200 per deal. So just obviously transparency is absolutely key. I agree with that.
Okay, can I bring in Ben here? Ben, you build an awful lot of websites for estate agents. Are you seeing any changes with regard to the mortgages of what you're having to do with estate agents' websites?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a massive, you know, switch in that they're actually embracing, you know, the technology, whether it's the likes of working with, you know, MAB or a multitude of providers now, you know, getting real-time mortgage pricing, you know, I think half of the thing for me is, and for our clients is, there's a time and a place, isn't there? You know, you're trusted with this property, which is most people's biggest asset in their life. Why wouldn't you trust that agent to dovetail you in at the right points of the process? So as more things go online, it's a natural that you would introduce to a panel like Babek's team are doing, or directly from many of our websites. And why wouldn't you introduce, or at least show some real-time pricing? And I think for adding that kind of facility, why wouldn't you be allowed to have some payment for it? You know, I don't think anyone would mind that.
I think
So,
as long,
yes.
as long as you're offering a service which people can see the value at, then I think it's only fair that it's appropriate and it's at the right level, and you're doing it as a reward, not for just putting someone because you're gonna get the most pound notes. Right, we're nearly there at the end. Does anyone got any final conclusions before we wrap this one up?
Can I say something? I just think what Babek said is very, very important. I think the relationship between the agent and the actual conveyancer is what makes this work. And if you're seeing, you know, the timescales of 13, 14, 15 weeks starting to go longer, and it is because of the conveyancing process, then you need to look at it. But going back to what I said, there's lots out there. There's plenty out there. You know, Wundome, working with what they do, MAB as well, and a plethora of other businesses.
ASAP.
Yeah.
It's a shame
exactly.
It's a shame Matt's not here from MAB to answer why the mortgage application process might be taking quite a long time as well. But that's for another time.
Exactly. But listen, I think that relationship, as Babek said, between the agent and the conveyancer should always mean that you get to the end result far quicker.
Well, thank you very much for that, boys and girls. Thank you for viewing this ICG webinar. If you want to go find out any more information, go to the icgapproved.co.uk website, where you'll find loads of PropTech solutions that will help your estate agency business not be paid to do this video. It shows how great basically the ICG is the cream of UK estate agency PropTech, and they'll find some solutions to make your business both not only survive but thrive, especially in 2021 when it gets a bit tougher. Thanks very much, boys and girls. Wave goodbye to the boys and girls in the estate agency, and we'll see you.
Thank you.